Joining us now is another genius. She's a co-host and producer for the Young Turks. Ana Kasparian is with us. Ana, thanks so much for coming back.
It's always my pleasure, Michael. Thanks for having me.
It's so great to talk with you. So what we're going to talk about is this very disturbing symmetry that I think we all see every day if we're paying proper attention, but it might be even more deep and systemic than we realize between the sort of expressions of violence and right-wing extremism, but really more importantly, how they actually correlate at the very core of the Republican Party and Republican media. We're going to get to this Lou Dobbs clip in a second, but first I just wanted to get your general thoughts on that to orient us for our conversation.
Well, I see that there are several issues with how the media overall covers cases of extremists. And what I see is a lot of mainstream media outlets doing the dirty work for extreme right-wingers by regurgitating their narrative and drawing these false equivalencies between what they refer to as extremists on the left and then the true extremists on the right who have already carried out so many acts of violence that people have lost their lives. So you have that when it comes to establishment mainstream media. And then to make matters worse, on the right, with individuals like Lou Dobbs, they will not only defame individuals on the left and paint this completely inaccurate picture of them, but he will also provide a cover for right-wing extremism and right-wing violence. And he does it in plain sight with absolutely no consequences. And this type of messaging encourages and incites the violence to continue.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I think that those sort of things on the continuum are really important, because I think at times there might even be an overemphasis on the relative importance of groups that actually in the right political environment could be relatively easy to marginalize. The power they have is the whitewashing through so-called mainstream media, and essentially the wink and nod, sometimes more, from the mainstream of the Republican Party and from media. And a really glaring example of this is a clip that you actually brought to my attention of Lou Dobbs from the other day. I think a lot of people have seen this really disturbing, disgusting footage of the protesters in front of an ICE facility protesting the kidnapping of children, an ICE facility in Rhode Island, and an ICE employee essentially driving his truck through them resisting, and actually they end up getting pepper sprayed by local ICE employees. This is how Lou Dobbs presented that story on Fox Business just the other day.
ICE protesters in Rhode Island harassing a federal detention center worker last night. These demonstrators blocking the entrance to a facility holding illegal immigrants. When the driver tried to pull in to the parking lot, the protesters surrounded him, yelling, banging on the hood of the truck, blocking his entrance into the facility. In jurisdictions all around the country, by the way, what they committed is assault. Trying to stop and block a vehicle is considered assault. In some instances, banging on an occupied vehicle is considered assault, which obviously the demonstrators may have committed in Rhode Island last night. Joining us tonight, Tom Homan, former acting director of Immigration and Customs Enforcement.
I mean, you get it goes on, basically Dobbs essentially praising the guy for doing that. It's overused word, but that seems kind of Orwellian.
I mean, beyond Orwellian. And also, I mean, right-wing hypocrisy is something that we've become so used to that I think that the majority of Americans, including us on the left, have become completely desensitized to it. I mean, these are individuals who want to get in between women and their doctors and make decisions about their reproductive choices for them because they claim that they really value life. And then at the same time, you hear them making excuses for prison guards who are literally attempting to murder protesters who they disagree with. Also, let's just keep in mind that, again, these are protesters. They're practicing their First Amendment rights. They were sitting as they were practicing that First Amendment right and protesting these migrant detention centers. And, you know, you have this individual trying to run them over, and Their lives don't matter. Their political speech doesn't matter. And I'm very curious where all those free speech warriors are, right? Where's Dave Rubin? Where's Ben Shapiro? Where's Ann Coulter? Where are all these people who only seem to care about protecting First Amendment rights when their precious speech money is on the line on college campuses? I mean, what's happening right now is beyond Orwellian. It's terrifying. It's a form of intimidation. So protesters don't voice their concerns over the way that migrants are being brutalized and dehumanized in these migrant detention centers. And Never Again Action, which is a group of Jewish activists who are calling these detention centers concentration camps, are doing something so incredibly important. They're saying, look, not on our watch. We know what this is all about. We know what it's like to be victimized this way, and we're not going to let it happen to any other group of people. And that is the exact type of speech that the right wing is so angry about, to the point where they will make excuses for people trying to run them over and murder them with their trucks. And this whole notion that it's assault to hit someone's car or bang on someone's car is just mind-blowing to me. I mean, they were about to be run over as they were sitting. They stood up at that point and tried to defend themselves. And the guy, by the way, continued running through them. Luckily, no one was killed, but 6 people were hurt. There were children in that group. There was an individual in a wheelchair. I mean, we're incredibly lucky that no one got killed. But to see someone on national television, basically say this type of behavior is totally fine, go ahead and hit them with your car, I mean, that's what he's implying. And it's no wonder we see the type of violence throughout the country that we're seeing today. It's being completely excused by people like Lou Dobbs.
I mean, I just want to say, and I hate the phrase "to be fair," but I just do want to be fair that, Dave, as an example, is dealing with the fact that Family Guy doesn't make gay jokes anymore. So,
well, you know what?
There's a lot going on.
That is important.
There's a lot
That is very
going
important
on.
free speech.
I mean, it's a complicated world. And just because people are getting, run over for protesting doesn't mean that we can forget 2005 dog animated gay jokes.
Right. Well, I hate to bring him up again, but the issue of free speech is important.
Yes.
And to be fair to myself and to be fair to countless people on the left, we did defend right-wingers who wanted to give speeches on college campuses. You might disagree with the speech or the messaging coming from people on the right, but you can't stop someone from sharing their point of view or their ideas, right? You're supposed to be a little uncomfortable and you're supposed to be challenged on a college campus. But the thing that frustrates me, and I think what frustrates a lot of people on the left, is that while we're playing fair, we're also getting punched in the face by the right wing because they are hypocrites. They don't have any principles or values, and they won't turn around and protect the free speech rights of us on the left.
Of course.
And so,
Never.
one of the points that exactly. Yeah.
Never.
And one of the points that I haven't made on the Young Turks yet, but I've been thinking about quite a bit is, look, I don't agree with any type of violence carried out, regardless of which group is carrying it out. I don't like the milkshakes. I don't like, what Antifa sometimes does. I do not think that everyone in Antifa is violent. I think that they are being mischaracterized to a degree. But at the same time, I do understand the frustration. Because if there's no one out there who is doing the right thing and fighting against these fascists and fighting against these violent right-wingers, when you have the mainstream media regurgitating their nonsense talking points and drawing these false equivalencies, you feel helpless and you feel like you have to take matters into your own hands. That's what creates the violent situation. We're supposed to have leaders who actually represent us and call these disgusting human beings out. But has anyone called out Lou Dobbs? I mean, no one's even outraged about it. And it frustrates me, to no end. I can't stop thinking about this story because more lives are going to be lost over this right-wing violence in America.
Well, and you drew the really disturbing parallel and the correct one between the murder of Heather Heyer and that specific thing that we saw at that ICE detention facility. You've just watched a Michael Brooks show video, and you can watch all of our full main live shows every Tuesday night at around 7 p.m. Eastern Time. and subscribe to get all of the clips you want. We're covering the globe. We're focusing on international relations, the intellectual dark web. We're having fun. We're doing deep dives with a lot of amazing guests. Of course, become a patron for the whole thing at patreon.com/TMBS, or subscribe to this YouTube channel and help us keep growing and get that content out there. Subscribe below.